I'm the only one.
Before we go, Wilds, you hated. You wanted them to stick with Jerod Mayo.
Yes. Because a coach, you know what I like? Continuity.
Yep.
I don't like. So we've been rebuilding since Tom Brady left. Tom Brady left a long time ago. Tom Brady has left so long ago. He won the Super Bowl, played for a little bit longer, and then became a broadcaster on Fox, and he's almost done with his first year. Meanwhile, we're still rebuilding. We're like an outfit here. You don't get dressed in the morning, nothing else works, and you look around, and you're still not dressed, and there's clothes everywhere because it was Belichick and Brady McDaniels. That worked. That worked for a decade plus. And then it's like, no, let's put in Cam. No, Cam doesn't work. Put in Mac. Okay, that worked. We got to the playoffs. That doesn't work. McDaniels, put in Matt Patricia. Okay, that doesn't work. Take out Mac, put in Zappy, put in Bill O'Brien. Matt Patricia's gone. Now let's take Belichick out. Let's put Mayo and Jacoby in. Jacoby doesn't work. Let's put Drake May in. Turns out Jerod Mayo doesn't work. Let's lose Van Pelt. He's not going to work. The defense coordinator's not going to work. Let's bring in Vrabel. Now, what happens if Vrabel's the guy, does not work? Because it doesn't seem like we've been making decision. It hasn't worked. If Vrabel doesn't work, you know where it's my worst nightmare. It's my worst. It keeps me up at night. That Drake May becomes the prince. All of a sudden, you're cycling through coach after coach after coach. The ground's always moving underneath you, and you don't develop, and you constantly search. And final thing, nostalgia is a hell of a drug. This constant need to go back to the glory days of the Patriots, which I am very guilty of. It's like, we got to get Vrabel. He knows the Patriots way. I mean, Jerod Mayo also played defense on the Patriots and won a Super Bowl. He didn't have the experience, but the nostalgia pull is what is making the decisions here. We're not even doing real interviews.
No, probably not.
We are doing real interviews. We're not doing an interview.
You're not having a committee.
But yeah, it's just we call Ben Johnson. Hey, do you want to coach? No, okay, cool.
I don't think it's just the nostalgia pill, and I think the mistake was made last year when they hired Jerod, because all Jerod as a player or a coach had known was that one system.
You said this
was Bill's system, and
you said this day one. And I was like, gosh darn it, he's probably right.
There was no experience outside of that system, so you move on from Bill, and you're really just getting a different version of Bill. And where the value with Mike Vrabel is Mike wasn't a first-time head coach. So you get all that learning out of the way. Mike had been in New England, so he does understand what the Patriot way is, but then he had been at Ohio State, then he went to Houston, and then he went to Tennessee. So he had all these other influences.
And he never coached under Bill. People have that, like, not you don't have that wrong. In people's mind's eye, they're like, oh, it's Belichick's coaching tree. It's not. Like,
no,
it just...
He experienced it, so he has that experience as a player. He understands the history. He understands the people. So you get that value, but you get all the value of the experiences that he's had and influences that he's had outside of that system, and you don't get a first-time head coach. So I think that's where the mistake was. Now, if Mike doesn't come there, to me, letting Jerod is a mistake, because to expect a guy to be, outstanding his first year. I mean, I know it happens, sporadically, but it does take some time. And to just move on after 1 year, to me, seems irrational unless you have a very specific plan.
Yeah, I'm with Coach in that. To expect a guy to be 1 year and turn this thing around. I mean, Belichick wasn't good there his last few years, and you got a rookie quarterback. Like, I do agree with that part, that feels unfair, but go get Mike Vrabel. Like, Vrabel should be their coach.
Just remember, Bill had one winning season in his first 6 years as a head coach.
Yeah. I bring that up a lot. So but Vrabel, Vrabel would be the answer.
Vrabel would be great.
Vrabel would be great.
So, listen.
I feel for Jerod, but Vrabel should be the coach.
So, Dust, give us maybe one extra minute here, because this is the one we care about the most, and this is Wild's team. I think a lot of things can be true at the same time. Yeah. So, I am more in tune to local talk about most teams than probably most people, because I love local sports talk radio, because that's what I came up in. And so I kind of have my finger on the pulse of what's being said, on WEEI and stuff. And there is a feeling that a lot of the criticism of Jerod Mayo feels pretty racist. And by the way, I agree with that. I also think if I were running the team, I probably would have fired him. Both things can be true. The folks that every time he's mentioned tweet DEI hire are cretins. It also can be true that just objectively weighing the football stuff, the first year, from before the year even started to every press conference throughout, a lot of it went really poorly. And I almost feel like some of the, I'm not saying you, KW, but some of the defense of him has almost been, I don't want to be lumped in with these creeps. And so, you know what I mean? So that part, I think, is a messy piece of it. I also think firing a coach that you said 5 years ago you handpicked after one season is almost always irrational unless you are certain you're getting Mike Vrabel, who I think is a home run hire because he is proven. He had the #1 seed and made an AFC Championship game different years with a quarterback not as talented as Drake May. Like, Drake May's better than Ryan Tannehill.
I like Vrabel.
So that part would all make sense. And here's my last point. I think the idea that there are these great franchises is usually a myth. The Bulls were an unbelievable franchise, and amazingly, the same people own them, and Michael Jordan's not there anymore, and they're not. The Lakers were this unbelievable franchise for a long time, and then Shaq and Kobe left, and it was like, oh, wait, that's the worst franchise in sports. And then LeBron James comes there, and it's like, oh, okay, they're good again. My Chiefs, which are now the Paragon franchise, and I like the Hunts just fine, but I was there before Andy got there, and certainly before Patrick got there. Nobody was like, man, why don't we do more things like the Kansas City Chiefs?
Yeah, great quarterback.
Right.
Great coaches.
Right.
Great organization.
Right. And so the idea that, like, oh, the Crafts are definitely going to get this right. I don't know that. They're just a dude that owned a paper company and bought a football team. Like, I just don't like that. The Belichick-Brady thing was awesome, and it made the Patriots this franchise. Now they just have to hope they get it right.
And Brady was a 6th-round draft pick. It's not like we were like,
Yeah,
he's
That's the
number
guy.
1.
Yeah. Sorry, KW.
You know what I've told you.
What?
It's over.
It's not over.
I mean, now Drake gives me some optimism, but generally, we see it all the time.
Generally,
the
it's
Celtics,
over. And you would-
you had your run.
Oh, the Celtics? How they do?
No, they after a long time.
KW.
They
And
won
by the
one
way, I
championship
let it
from
go.
Bird
They seem
to
like they're doing
Jason
all right.
Tatum.
Kill to
Doing
be
right.
the Prince. Win a playoff game next year, you'd kill to be the Prince. You walk over broken glass to be the Prince.
We'll get to the
It's over, man.
And it seemed like, from the reporting, ownership wanted to keep one and not the other. And I think smartly thought, I'm not going to get whoever I want to hire to fill the position I fire isn't going to like being on this staggered timeline.
Yeah.
So if you're going to keep, like, these two guys were hired together, both from Buffalo, and it's like, we'll give you one more year. I think it would have been fair to clean house there. I think it would have, and I understand the Maras don't want to be a team that just continually hires and fires coaches. I get that and I respect that. But I don't think, this year could not have gone worse from any measure. From quarterback play to overall team morale to performance of things other than the quarterback, to all of it was a disaster, and it was their 3rd year. So it seemed like they had a fair runway. But I understand not wanting to fire the coach, keep the GM, then the new head coach is going to come in and be like, well, I want my GM, and then you're on this staggered, weird timeline thing.
Yeah, look, Brian was the coach of the year his first year, so it went to a playoff game, won a playoff game. So he's shown that he can do it. It's about as bad as it can be with all the stuff on Hard Knocks, and when Saquon goes and does what he does, and you sink the money into Daniel Jones, and that goes south. You know, would I have been surprised if they had made a change? No. But this typically, like historically, was an organization that was patient and did give people time. And I'll give the owner of the Lions a lot of credit. Remember when she did that press conference and said, I think we have the right people in place, and they've won 7 out of 10 games since then. You know, it's been an incredible winning percentage. What I don't love about this is that the owner then says, well, something better happen quickly because I'm really mad. It's like, oh, okay, well, you're bringing them back, and then you're going to, like, threaten them like you're an angry parent, like you better do your homework.
And you're going to have a rookie quarterback, too, probably.
It's just one of those things where if you're going to bring him back, okay, we're going to assess things, we're going to fix problems, I believe in the people we have, we're going to move forward, as opposed to this, like, angry sort of press conference. I'm bringing them back begrudgingly, but they better know they're on a short lease. Like, who doesn't know that? We all know it. Now support them and see if you can get things fixed.
Yeah, look, I get, Nick, what you're saying about the timeline, because it is problematic. But I'm fine with Daboll being back. Like you said, he did a great job his first year. I think he's a good coach. Shane should be gone to me. I'm just sorry. He should be gone. And I get Daboll would be on a short leash because the new GM would, always have it in the back of his mind. Maybe I want my guy.
Right.
But Daboll could do a good. I think Daboll could do a good job. Because they do have pieces, and if they do well in the draft in this summer, but just with letting Saquon go, which I get it, he's a running back, that was a devalued position, but still, letting Saquon go to a division rival, and now he does what he did this year, and the contract for Daniel Jones.
That's the original sin.
Then benching Jones, which I get it because of the bad contract you gave him, but you killed the spirit of the team with like 6-7 weeks left.
I can't remember 2 contract-related things in the same season for the same team that have gone as bad as those 2 have.
Yeah. Right.
Those are 2.
How do you?
And to have it all on TV, it's never going away.
That original, after their first year when they won the playoff game and all of it, remember, Saquon and Daniel Jones were free agents. They didn't want to use the franchise tag on Daniel Jones, so they used it on Saquon, which torched that relationship. And if they had just done it in the reverse, franchise Jones, given Saquon his money, everything's different there.
Again, looking at the season, so they go 7-10, which is, it's a down season, but it's not as down as some of these seasons have been. And you look at yesterday's game, I think that hurt them losing, 6 seconds left. They hit the little fade route and the
Washington just everybody throws game winners.
So you have that as well. But realistically, it started in the offseason. They didn't redo Dak's contract, so they couldn't do anything in free agency. They didn't get things done with CeeDee Lamb. That was problematic. There was, they didn't re-up the coaching staff. Fine, but there's more issues. And then you say you're going to go all in, so you build these expectations with the fan base. They lost 5 starters in the offseason, including 2 Pro Bowl offensive linemen, and it was the 3rd most starters they've ever lost in the history of the organization, and they didn't really replace it with anybody, with some free agents here and there, with some draft picks, but we're talking about very low-level replacements. And the running game, we've talked about the running game well before the preseason. They didn't do anything about that. To sit back now and say, okay, this is all coaching. You also lost your starting quarterback during the season. I think it's a bit disingenuous. So if Jerry is honestly reflecting on the mistakes of this past season and the positioning that they put this group in, I don't think it would be very. I don't think it's productive for them right now to blow it up. I think it's more productive for them to actually go and try to have a meaningful offseason. And see whether or not they can get back to where they were, which in that division now, there's always a new winner.
Yeah.
There's always a new winner.
And they're a clear 3rd right now in that division. I thought, and you guys know I've been critical of Belichick at times despite his success, but I thought he was the guy for this job because it is a team that is Super Bowl or bust in my view, and they've spent money like that, and so I thought he was the guy. Without him there, and obviously I talked about Deion, that's not happening, then I think you should bring back. Here's the caveat though. I would not want to give McCarthy like a long-term deal. I want to give him like 1 year with a team option.
No, I'm not taking
but this is related to what coach was. You screwed up last summer again, the offseason. You should have done this last offseason. Then he wouldn't have been lame duck. You wouldn't be locked in.
So you would make him lame duck.
Honestly though, you could do that.
No,
if he doesn't get the Chicago job, which I don't think he will,
take it.
So he'd rather not coach.
Brew.
If he doesn't get the Chicago job, you give him a 2-year deal, but the second year is a team out.
That makes him a lame duck.
No, if he doesn't, I'm saying if he doesn't get it,
I think he might take a 1.
That's fine. If he doesn't have any other options, what's he gonna do?
I think he might take a 1-year deal.
Wow.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
didn't you hate?
Where's his options?
Zimmer on the 1-year deal.
I'm not saying it's great.
Zimmer took
but it doesn't mean I don't think he'll take it.
Right. That's all I'm saying.
Because it's one of those things where, from a coaching perspective, you always believe that you can do a great job, and you believe that you can fix the problems. Otherwise, you wouldn't be in that position.
So a half-year deal.
So if you get a 1-year deal and you go out,
no doubt he believes he can leave in 12.
10 days.
We're right. He has no options.
Jerry's quote about why he bought the team. I should have had Hubs pull it. He said he was asked after the game about his role as the GM or whatever, and he said, I'm going to paraphrase, but this is damn near the exact quote. He's like, I always get asked, did I buy this team for my kids? Hell no. I bought this team for myself. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.